Dear Stranger, this is a series consisting of interactions and observations I have had with strangers. These interactions and observations have been compiled into my notes app and journal. This compilation of readings comes from my everyday life. We all have impact on one another, even if we are just strangers. Enjoy. Dear Hollywood Store Guy, it was a night out in the town. We were just coming back from exploring the Chinese theater and the streets of Hollywood when Irina, the lady kind enough to let me stay with her, suggested that we popped into one of the classic Hollywood merchandise stores. I'll admit, I was a bit reluctant. I was still quite tired due to the time change. However, I quickly snapped out of it, reminding myself that I wanted to make the most of my trip. And I could handle being a tad tired. We entered the store, and I was greeted by a large statue of a character from an action movie my brother and I liked growing up. The store was crowded and colorful, with movie stills framing the ceiling. I decided I wanted to get my friend something for her birthday. She wants to be an actor, so what a better place to get her something personalized than the Hollywood store itself. I picked out a blank Hollywood Walk of Fame keychain and made my way to the counter. It was taller than a normal counter, and I had to look up to speak with you. You had a fantastic punk look to you. Dyed hair, all sorts of tattoos, and a variety of facial piercings. At first, it was kind of awkward. I felt bad for asking you to personalize the keychain. But, as we waited for it to finish printing, we got to talking. I asked you how your day was, and you told me that you and your buddies had a script pitch earlier that day, and that it went well. Of course, that prompted me to be like, no way, I'm a screenwriter too. And from that point on, the conversation was just fantastic. You told me about how you moved to LA in early June, and ever since then, you had been working on and trying to get your show made. We then talked about the writer's strike and how it's created more of a community for us writers. Towards the tail end of our conversation, you realized the printing was done. You roughly wrapped the keychain in paper, and you handed it to me. It's the thought that counts. See you out there, you said, giving me a fist bump goodbye. You too, I said as I made my way back to Irina. Meeting you was such a breath of fresh air. It was so nice to meet someone on a similar journey as mine. It made me feel like this dream of mine, this dream of ours, was achievable. I can't wait to see your work on the big screen. Good luck out there. Dear solo parkgoer, of course, when one is in California, one must try to go to at least one of the many different amusement parks that are available. After picking up a few extra shifts at work, I had made enough to treat myself to a park-filled day out. My day at the park started at 9 a.m., and it didn't end until 1 a.m. Naturally, it was a lot of time to explore, but it felt rather daunting with it just being myself. However, there are some perks to going to an amusement park alone. One of the big ones being single rider lanes, and that you don't have to share your snacks. In my first line of the day, I felt rather awkward, just standing there, shuffling along as families chatted and laughed in the other line. You stood in front of me, lightly bobbing your head to the music in your headphones. You seemed to be enjoying yourself. I was debating on whether if I should listen to music too, but after some mental deliberation, I decided I should just enjoy the park's songs and atmosphere. You wore such a pretty floral button-up and had long dark hair pinned back with a pink clip. You seemed comfortable with yourself. You radiated confidence. As the day progressed, we passed by each other a couple times. We offered small smiles or blushed avoided glances. At the end of the night, I was by the Ferris wheel. I was watching one of the fireworks shows. It was a fantastic display of color and story. After the show, I remained by the showing area, letting the crowds pass. I had out my phone and was taking a picture when I felt a light tap on my shoulder. I turned to see you. You stood there kind of awkwardly. "Hey," you said. "Hey," I said back. We chatted a little bit and you mentioned about how you were at the park alone. I said that I was too, and we bonded over that for a moment. It sounded like you had a good day from what you described to me. The park was closing, and most of the staff was starting to pick up. You asked me if I could take a picture of you by the Ferris wheel, and I agreed. You handed me your phone. I took a couple pictures for you. You laughed as you shyly tried to pose. I then handed you your phone back, and you mentioned how your parents were going to love the pictures. Not long after that, we said our goodbyes and parted ways. It was nice to see someone having a similar day to mine. Thank you for reaching out. I enjoyed our conversation. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your vacation. Dear whoever charged me $257 worth of room service. You know, I budgeted for this trip, but I certainly did not include your splurging onto my spending. When I returned from my one-night stay at a hotel, I noticed that the price tag for the room was way more than I thought it was going to be. After many phone calls, I later got to the bottom of this charge. In one call, I was informed that I had apparently ordered room service. You don't remember ordering orange juice, champagne, pancakes, 2 quesadillas, waffles, fruit, and pastry platters? I was stunned by the amount of food, and the fact that this lady really thought I didn't remember ordering it. In response to her question, I asked her one too. I asked her when the food was ordered, and she said it was brought up around 10:53 or so. Luckily for me, checkout was at 11, and I was already down at the front desk. You know, I try to think of the best in people, and that maybe you just accidentally put my room number instead of yours. However, after the mention of getting both breakfast and lunch, it left me a little skeptical. I remember I was in my room and I was looking over the menu that I had next to the phone. The food sounded wonderful, and the margaritas were practically a steal. But I decided against it. If only I had known you were going to do it anyways, maybe then I would have indulged. At the end of it all, I hope you had a good meal, but you stressed me out, and I would have been so mad if I didn't get my refund. Count yourself as lucky. Dear Beignet Shop Manager, it was one of the colder days in California. Dark clouds in the sky brought rainfall. Despite many of the Californians not going out in such weather, the rain did not stop me. I decided to hang out in one of the many downtown shopping centers. However, I quickly learned that many of these shopping centers in California don't have roofs due to the normally good weather. I ended up using various shops and restaurants to take a break from the rain. I assumed Irwina wouldn't want to be out in the rain, but I still invited her out to meet me at one of the shopping centers when she got out of work. To my surprise, she met me there. After walking around in the cold, we decided we want a little treat. The sweet smell of beignets called us. Luckily, we had made it just in time, as we were the final group of customers that they let in for the night. The shop was so cute, with all sorts of pinks and yellows to draw our attention. This is where I met you. We ordered a large amount of beignets for just 2 people, but you didn't judge. You greeted us with the warmest smile and assured us that our order would be right out. When you called my name, I went up to retrieve my order. As I turned, you called for me to wait. I was worried. Did I get the wrong order or something? But you held out a frozen hot chocolate for me. On the house, you said. I thanked you for it, and Irwina and I went back outside so your staff and you could close up. It was dark out, and the rain had mostly lightened up. Irwina and I huddled under an awning as we snacked. Then we noticed a man in a security uniform walk up to your shop. He used his knuckles to lightly tap on the glass. You rushed over and opened the door. He looked nervous and shakily handed you a bag. You thanked him, and you both parted ways, with small waves. I watched as the man tried to hide his smile as he walked away. That man was blushing. I could hear your workers laughing when I turned around to see them all shaking your shoulders. They were encouraging you to see what was in the bag. You tried to settle them down, but everyone was so excited for you. You rummaged through the bag and pulled out a heart-shaped box of chocolates. This only caused the staff to be even more excited for you. I think Irina was the most excited for you, though. Having me hold her coffee, she stood at the large glass windows holding her hands up into a heart, trying to say that the man liked you. Alright. First, I would like to say the beignets were wonderful. Second, thank you so much for the free drink. And third, I would like to apologize for watching, but we're just really rooting for you. This has been Dear Stranger. Thank you for listening.